Test. A very good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to TCS Sustainathon ASEAN Finale, and a very big welcome to everyone joining us online as well. I'm sure everyone's excited to be here as this is our first ASEAN Finale for Sustainathon. Now, Sustainathon started right here in Singapore back in 2020, and it is an ideathon that aims to encourage youths to rethink, reimagine, and reinvent, sustainability problems in the real world that can impact their future in the long run. Now, we're so proud about how far Sustainathon has come. We have not grown just regionally, but internationally. We've expanded to places such as the UK, Europe, India, Australia, as well as New Zealand. Now, bring it back to the regional level. Countries like Malaysia and Philippines have joined us today for the ASEAN Finale, and we can't be more proud of how far we have achieved. Now, how today is going to work is that the top 2 teams from each country in Singapore, Malaysia, as well as Philippines are here today to battle it out to see who reigns as the champions for Sustainathon ASEAN Finale. So these are the team. These are the countries present here today for the ideathon. And so we have to think, so Sustainathon in 2020, in our inaugural year, we focus on food wastage. And beyond environmental, we have to think about sustainability as a big umbrella of many different problems. And we want to talk about these 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals as well. And more specifically, today we want to focus on quality education, which is goal number 4 of these 17 goals. Because why we want to focus on quality education is because in light of all the challenges that the pandemic has brought forth, we have seen how education is impacted even as a result of the pandemic. So today we want to focus on the topic, reimagine education. We also want to thank our huge ecosystem of partners. Without all these partners who are here supporting us today, we would not have been able to make this happen. Next, we also want to thank our judges who are present here with us today. You are here today to make the tough decisions that we couldn't make, so thank you for being here. May I introduce Ms. Grace Carrison, APAC Head of Sales Solutions at LinkedIn. May I also introduce Mr. Rajiv Peshwara, CEO, Stewardship Asia. Karina Chan, Director, Temasek Trust. And we also have joining with us virtually, Dinanav Koka, Senior Vice President, Global Head of Partner Ecosystems and Alliances here at TCS. And we also have Ojas Sharma, who's co-founder and CEO of Floramis, as well as our past Sustainathon champion in the 2020 TCS Sustainathon. So we have alumni right here. So I hope all of you are excited to be here, and the teams will now be ready to present to us. So may I present to you our first team. This is Team The Circus. They're representing Singapore, and they will be addressing the challenge statement from NIE. May I welcome Team The Circus, please? One moment. Okay, give me a second. Hi, Team, you may come on stage. Let's welcome Team The Circus, please. Thank you. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for being here with us today. So first of all, let us tell you our story. So in the beginning of 2020, the 4 of us set out on our university journey, and we were excited to start this new chapter of our lives, to meet new friends and classmates. However, the COVID-19 pandemic hit, and what we faced instead were our computer screens as we attended online classes that was devoid of meaningful social interaction. However, this isn't just our story. In a survey that we sent out to our peers studying in Singapore and Indonesia, 52% felt a lack of social interaction, and 47% found much difficulty in initiating new friendships with the peers that they met during online class. Hence why the challenge statement of enhancing learners' experience in a blended learning environment spoke so greatly to us. Because even though the COVID-19 restrictions have eased up over these past few months, our peers still felt the same kind of problems. And the advances in technologies during this period have proven to be so useful that blended learning is likely here to stay. So this is why we came up with our solution, EduGather, which is a peer learning platform targeted towards university students with gamified elements as incentives to help the students find access to their study materials that they need and connect them with their peers.
I'll now be bringing you through the main features of EduGather. So first, we have the marketplace, where students can buy and sell course materials or study materials on the platform through the use of our in-app currency called coins. So we actually have a tagging system which identifies the key learning points in each set of materials and allows them to identify which notes they need and as well go beyond the learning scope that they are set in the classroom. So we also have the Hangouts feature, which allows them to find schoolmates with similar interests and hobbies. So imagine if you're a student and you're missing a few friends for a frisbee game, or you're looking for someone to discuss the latest Marvel movie with. So you can post a Hangout session or join an existing session posted by other users. In this way, students don't have to worry about being unable to find like-minded peers. So we also have the Q&A forum, where students can post questions which they wish to clarify. It can be academic or about the community that they coexist in. So alternatively, they can also answer questions posted by other users so that they can reinforce their learning and help their peers at the same time. So additionally, EduGather also has a tutor-tutee matching system, which allows you to find the tutor you need or to advertise your tutoring services. So with the coins earned on the application, what users can do is redeem these coins for rewards such as vouchers and special promotions. And of course, the more that you collaborate with users in the community and the more you interact, the better rewards you can get. So with EduGather, we allow students to communicate and connect with the community and at the same time gain access to the learning resources they need to excel in their academics so that they can make the most of their education.
So by now you might be asking, why do we need EduGather when there are so many educational websites out there? While that may be the case, majority of the online learning tools available in the market, such as Brainy and Course Hero, focuses only on providing convenient academic help to students. However, EduGather has a different aim in mind, to help build a healthy learning community within schools that encourages students to reach out to one another for help. With features that has been carefully curated and validated in our initial survey, EduGather makes it easier for students to find the support that they need in a blended learning environment, both socially and academically. We want to take care of the students' mental health by helping them feel less isolated in pursuing their education. We also find that the culture of peer learning is important to cultivate. Additionally, we want to inculcate the culture of self-directed learning, where students take charge of their own learning and education, taking initiative in their own revision.
So here's a projected roadmap of EduGather's development and release. For the first year, we plan on focusing on the development of the initial MVP and user acceptance testing. Afterwards, we plan to first release EduGather for the Singapore market by partnering up with local universities. We also hope to develop a mobile application version for EduGather so that it's easier to use. And also we will add on incremental enhancements to the existing platform to make the features more accessible to everyone. And then we will be looking towards marketing and expansion in other ASEAN countries, such as Malaysia, Indonesia, and Philippines. So with EduGather, we can build a culture of active peer learning that improves academic performance, acquisition of soft skills, and supports mental health in a blended learning environment. Thank you very much for your attention, and we will now take any questions you may have.
Thank you, Team The Circus. Now we'll open the floor. Thank you, Team The Circus. Now we'll open the floor for Q&A for the judges.
Oh, all right. Thank you so much for the presentation. I'd just like to know a bit more about your tutoring services, the peer-to-peer tutoring. So just a couple of questions on that. If I was a student who wanted to get tutored in a certain subject, what would the user flow look like for that? And then also, how do you regulate good quality? Because in a peer-to-peer service, the main issue is always quality control, right? So how do you manage that?
Thank you for the question. So first of all, about the user flow of the tutor-tutee matching, actually the tutors are also students, right? So they will list out in their profiles the subjects that they are willing to tutor for, since this is scope by school based. And then afterwards, they can chat with the people who are interested in getting tuition for those subjects can chat those tutors and strike up their own deals. So as for moderation, first of all, for our gamified feature, one of our gamified features is actually a reputation system, where the reputation points are actually a reflection of the quality of the content that is contributed by the user. So if they are they have proven to be good tutors, then they will have a higher reputation, which is sort of a crowdsourced way of monitoring. But also, on top of that, we also plan to have student moderators who have been carefully selected so that they can also participate in other ways in the platform, and they will also help to select these tutors. Thank you.
Question, has this been done before in any other market?
So I believe there are actually a multitude of other platforms that have done either one of these, who have done either one of these features. But what we want to do is actually bring them together to form a cohesive society and community for the students. Because what we realize now is that sometimes each of these platforms can be very disjointed, and there's no link, exceptionally close link to what the school provides. And so kind of, when the students are met with these kind of situations, they cannot join the link between their school community and their academics. So hopefully with our platform, what we aim to do is really combine that link to make a more holistic development experience.
Look up later something called openstudy.com.
Okay.
Hi, do we have time? Just going back to Arjus's question, just adding on to it. What would be, is this for all students from kindergarten to universities, or is it targeted to what types of students?
So currently we're targeting university students right now, so where they have more leverage on the kind of education that they want to achieve, so with the courses that they take, and as well like if they want to get tutoring services or help. University students we find can take more charge of their learning, so which helps to push the self-directed learning culture, which we were also mentioned earlier.
And that includes executive programs within universities?
Yes.
Just one question on how do you intend to have the app sustainable in the long term?
So for the sustainability part, so for monetization, we tend to partner with the schools and other partnerships. So for the reward system for when exchange of coins, for example, so we plan to reach out to maybe some businesses that will help students, that will help students in their education, and perhaps from there we can find encourage more businesses to join us, and then also through the educational institution. So to partner with us, we can have them pay us a subscription fee perhaps per year or something. So with the subscription with the schools partnerships, so we are able to get the details and all the information about the students in those schools, so that we can build on from all those details. And then, so because we plan to have the students log in through their school emails and everything, so it'll be good to have the partnerships with the schools as well. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
I'd like to ask one question. Thank you for the presentation. It's absolutely amazing that you have thought about creating a simulation of a classroom virtually, and also the communities of experts. A couple of questions I have. Have you looked at the disruptive elements? When you look at a classroom, there are always those people who will create mischief and disrupt the proceedings. So how do you take care of that? How do you regulate that as one of the areas? And the second thing which I really liked is, and which I really feel that students miss out, is the connect with the people with like-minded areas of focus. Like somebody interested in AI could be across different batches, and your ability to connect with them is quite phenomenal. So I think you need to build further on that, because in an education institution, it's either the class or the batch that you focus on, but you really don't get opportunities to connect across. So it's a wonderful opportunity for you to build on that idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, so about the regulation, as we mentioned before, we plan to have student moderators, and also if in the later stage of development, we also plan to add this machine learning features with NLP to help to streamline the process for these student moderators, so they will know what sort of content that is bad and they have to remove. And also, since we have a gamification system of reputation points, then it's sort of a crowdsourced kind of moderation. So people who have actually contributed very low quality content or are just there to create mischief will definitely have this lower reputation points and will have less visibility and impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Tess. Thank you, Team The Circus, and thank you, judges, for your questions. Oh, this one. Thank you. All right, let's give a huge round of applause for Team The Circus, please. Now, I hope that was insightful for everyone. The next team we have is a team representing Malaysia, Team The Cuties. Now, they're addressing a challenge statement from UPSI, and I hope that they will wow you with their presentation as well. May I welcome Team The Cuties, please?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and the judges. I'm Cute Debbie, the project manager of the Cuties. Now, what do you think is going on in this picture? So this is Sam. He's a year 3 student, and it's pretty obvious that he's struggling and having a difficult time with online learning, being clueless and even dozing off during class. And I believe most of us here can relate to Sam in one way or another. Am I right? But in reality, not just Sam, UNESCO reported in 2021 that 140 million students' education in Southeast Asia were disrupted due to the lockdown. How then can we use digital technologies to improve the quality of online learning and facilitate communications among parents, teachers, and students like Sam? Well, Sam mentioned that the lack of a centralized platform has confused him in understanding his homework requirements and that his busy parents can't guide him in his learning activity. Moreover, the lack of a peer-to-peer communication among teachers has made online teaching way much more difficult than before. However, we, the Cuties, are here to introduce to you Cutie, a newly interactive and attractive platform powered by artificial intelligence with its cute virtual assistant, QC. We aim to achieve C, which is support Sam on behalf of our parents with our QC parent, and enhance Sam's teachers' online teaching with our QC teacher, and excite Sam's online learning with our QC student. So let's see how C is achieved with Chelfang.
Now, QC will act as a study buddy to accompany Sam in his study time and online learning. With our emotion detection technology, QC can detect whenever Sam starts yawning and losing interest in class. Once it detects so, QC will immediately pop up a conversation with Sam to get his attention. On top of that, if Sam starts to doze off, QC will pop up again, giving a little boost of happy hormones to help Sam stay awake. Secondly, for Sam's academic management, with our machine learning algorithm, QC will group his study materials according to his subjects, and also this will make Sam easy to get his subjects right. So not only that, there will also be a wide variety of games generated by QC according to his interests. For Sam to play these games, he will have to battle for more points, as known as droplets, by completing his work submission, and also he will need to attending his online classes to acquire more playtime. By this way, Sam will feel motivated when learning to get more droplets. Thirdly, with our QC's virtual assistant, Sam's parents can easily track and monitor Sam's learning progress, specifically with just a voice command. QC will display Sam's attendance and psychological report.
Show me my child's attendance. Opening attendance, sir.
This feature will definitely reduce the time spent
Show
by
me my
parents
child's
navigating through
attendance.
this app.
Opening attendance, sir.
Savvy.
Show me my child's psychological report. Opening report, sir.
There it is, Sam's psychological report, which is generated by QC through data analytics. and helping parents to better understand their child. Finally, for SAM's teachers, QC utilizes cloud technology for all teachers to communicate with each other and sharing their teaching materials centrally to create the peer-to-peer support they need. With this, teachers can have more time to prepare their lessons as their daily administrative works. For example, the records of student attendance can be done by QC, and teacher will only need to verify it.
We believe QC stands out with it being the most beneficial and user-friendly learning platform as we promote gamified and holistic learning and is personalized and student-centric. Now, for now, elementary school students in Singapore, Philippines, and Malaysia are our target audience. There will be a freemium plan with limited access and a premium plan with a 1-month free trial and an annual subscription of $9.99. For now, with EdTech being widely introduced to ASEAN, we believe QTs has the potential to generate 755 million for its TAM and 1.13 million for its SOM. Our goals remain aligned with UNESCO's sustainable goals in making education accessible to all genders and reducing inequalities between the urbans and the rurals. So what's next? We hope to create our own NFT collections to generate revenue and venture into the QT metaverse to make future education tangible and borderless, and an offline QC in QT embedded chip that can be installed and run in the cheapest tablet. All in all, QT in QC is brought to you by a group of first-year University Malaya students who empathizes and relates with Sam's struggle. We are the QTs. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, the QTs. Now I may open the floor to the judges for questions.
Hi, well done. That was a great presentation. I love the psych assessment. The one question though, I appreciated the empathy for the parents being less tech savvy. Why would you only have voice activation for the parents, but did you ever consider, for example, children or kids with disabilities, students with disability?
Yeah, definitely. I think we actually thought of it. It's just that due to the time, we are unable to actually come up to talk about that feature. But seeing that it's possible for our parents, it's definitely possible to be implemented for our students as well.
Have you also thought about other elements in terms of how you scale your app, in terms of offerings?
Okay, so how do we scale it? Definitely, we would hope to come out. Sorry, let me rephrase my sentence. We hope to have an investment fund of $150 and also scale it in a way that we will create revenue from our subscription and also revenue from our NFT collection. I hope that answers your question.
All right. First of all, I'd like to say I really love the T-shirts. Yeah, great branding for the team. I guess I'd like to ask you, you mentioned $150 as your initial investment.
Yes.
So what does your roadmap look like? Because you said NFTs, metaverse, things like that. But how are you going to plan to roll this out? I see Malacca is your initial offering, right? So could you elaborate a bit more on that?
All right, so the reason why we chose with Malacca first, because out of the many states in Malaysia, Malacca is not as urbanized and it's not very left behind. So it's right in the middle. And after that, we hope to widen our scope to the whole Malaysia. And for the investment fund, we will actually include CapEx and also our programmers and also our user acquisition, in going out, reaching out to the schools. I think those are all included inside the funds. And how are we going to maintain our app is actually through our subscription and also our NFT collection.
Thank you. Any more questions from the judges? Dinanath, maybe?
Yeah, I have one question. You mentioned about reducing inequalities. Can you elaborate further on that? Because from where I see it, it potentially would increase inequalities because your solution might not necessarily take care of people who are visually impaired or having challenges in listening or hearing. Can you elaborate further on your thoughts around that?
All right, sure. Thank you for the question. I think for inequalities, it's actually more for the poor and the rich That's what we are trying to actually address, the problem that we are addressing, because many of the students, even though we know that students are going back to school, but actually even before COVID, many students in the rural areas do not have access to education. So we are trying to, what's next? We are trying to come up with an embedded QT chip that which can work on a mobile device, because computer costs way much more than mobile device. So we hope to have that and also provide education to the students in the rural areas and reduce the inequalities between the poor and the rich.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions from the judges? All good? Okay, thank you, Team The Cuties. Thank you for your wonderful presentation. Thank you. Okay, I hope everyone enjoyed that presentation as much as I did from Team The Cuties. Next, we have a powerful duo from Philippines that, fun fact, they are the only two-man team here, right here today battling it out for this championship. So may I introduce Team Radio Works, who will be addressing the challenge statement from Ronald McDonald House Charities of the Philippines. Team Radio Works, please.
Good afternoon. We're Radio Works from the Philippines.
So according to the Education First English Proficiency Index, there is a large gap in the ASEAN countries. As you can see in the list here, aside from the top three countries on the list, all of the ASEAN countries scored low or very low on their English proficiency scores. Aside from that, according to their 2021 yearly report, there is a decrease in the population average across these regions. So English proficiency is a good skill to build because it allows for sustainable communities, globalization, economic growth, innovation, and reduced inequality. Aside from that, it also allows access to better opportunities, higher education, travel opportunities, and more.
Just yesterday, as we were departing for Singapore in the plane, a report was published by the World Bank stating that as a result of the worst crisis in education in history, 70% of children, actually 10-year-olds, cannot read and understand simple text. In South Asia, 78% of children cannot read and understand simple text. And it's worse in my home country, the Philippines, where 9 out of 10 children cannot read and understand simple text. And the most at risk here are the children who do not have a foundational grasp of reading literacy. And because of this, they may not be able to acquire the skills they need in the future in their careers. One of the problems we see here, apart from the usual pain points, is that many conventional approaches of teaching English may lack standardization, may be baseless or unsupported, and may be inferior to digital approaches. And apart from that, there are also pedagogical issues, wherein many conventional methods fail to incorporate phonemic awareness, which is the awareness of the sounds and the words that they can form. And also more approaches do not incorporate oral reading fluency, which is the ability to read text out loud. And according to research, these two are crucial elements for developing reading literacy. We thus need to bridge the English reading literacy gap with a cost-effective and adaptive digital learning solution. I'm Jose Javier Lasala, a medical student, and this is my partner, Janus Tiberio, an engineer, and we propose Read.io, an all-in-one solution that incorporates the 5 basic components of foundational reading literacy, which are phonics, phonemic awareness, reading comprehension, fluency, and vocabulary. This solution emphasizes phonics-based instruction and phonemic awareness and oral reading fluency, coupled with personalized feedback and digital games to develop reading literacy. With Read.io, users can customize their profiles and select avatars just like in video games. And they can also take a pretest to assess their baseline skill levels and then receive a personalized program that caters to their strengths and their weaknesses. Next, in the homepage, it offers a variety of cool stories that are embedded with different exercises and that focus on different phonemes. So here they can vocalize the phoneme, watch an assistive video if they need help, receive feedback, and develop phonemic awareness in a fun and interactive way. They can also tie these spoken phonemes into spoken words and develop their vocabulary. Apart from that and other exercises, they can develop their oral reading fluency through fun read-alongs and repeated reading exercises. It's like karaoke, but for education. And they can develop other facets of literacy like spelling and phonics. And then in the end, they're rewarded with the story. It's like YouTube Kids, but you have to earn the video or the story. Next, there's another mode in Read.io that offers engaging games where they can play games to build their reading comprehension. So here, they're like navigating through space, and then there are different items thrown at them, and they have to guess the emotion conveyed by the text or the passage. And in another exercise, they can also develop their oral reading fluency and then receive feedback for the words they mispronounced. And lastly, to increase motivation, retention, and make it more addictive, you can collect badges, rewards, and game items all throughout your learning journey.
So our solution leverages these technologies of voice recognition, cloud computing, deep learning and neural networks, and edge computing. So we want to make our application as accessible as possible. So we aim to launch it on the iOS and Android market. And for rural areas, we want to, with no internet penetration, we want to use edge devices such as NVIDIA Jetson Nano or any mobile device with a GPU to allow an offline implementation of our solution. Next. So our target market is the children in the reading age, intermediate English learners, and existing educational institutions who want to use a digital solution to learn how to read. Next. So our values, our application is evidence-based, cost-effective, scalable, sustainable, maximizes digital education initiatives, and the rest. Next. These are our SDGs, so quality education and other can be actualized as well. So we're out of time. So.
As the adage goes, today a reader, tomorrow a leader. Read.io, redefining the future with future-ready readers. Thank you.
Thank you, Read.io, for the speedy wrap-up. We may now open the floor to the judges for questions.
All right, thank you so much, guys. I have a quick question on your competitor analysis. Maybe if you can elaborate on that, because I think there are a few like gamified phonics solutions out there already.
Yeah,
So,
I looked up all of those. So there's GraphoLearn, Hooked on Phonics, Sound It Out. And the problem with this is, although they focus on phonics, they fail to incorporate another important facet of reading literacy, which is oral reading fluency. And according to research, this is the bridge between phonics and word recognition and then reading comprehension. So those applications, although they focus on phonics, they fail to incorporate another crucial component, which is oral reading fluency.
You have any more questions?
Talk a little bit more about you mentioned very briefly those who do not have access to a computer in rural areas.
Yes.
And those are the ones who are mostly left behind when it comes to reading and writing.
Yes.
What was that solution again?
Okay, so basically, for areas with low internet penetration, we want to use mobile devices with GPUs to basically create an offline implementation of our phoneme recognition model. So our first stage would be to do it on the internet. That way we can gather data and increase our data sets. And then probably we can work on giving models that are that can recognize phonemes despite like regional dialects and things. And then we can hard code that into a mobile device and then use that mobile device without internet to perform the speech recognition aspect of our but then again, our solution would be more robust if it did have Wi-Fi, but we could give the bare bones approach or the minimum viable product with an offline implementation.
You continue, Jonas. Can I get you to stand a little more to the center?
I agree with Jonas. I agree.
One question from me. You said you focused on the English language. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
What is the percentage of people who you're going to target? Because as I understand, in the ASEAN countries, you may not necessarily have as many people speaking English on a regular basis. So how would you look at that as an opportunity?
I guess the people that we want to target are countries that already have English in their basic school curriculum. And then we also want to improve their means of actualizing the English teaching using digital solutions. So we want to integrate with existing educational institutions and basically amp up their English program using a digital solution. So
what's the type of percentage infiltration of English in schools, for example, if you take the total population of the target market that you're having?
Yeah, as of now, we don't really have exact numbers, but I believe that certain countries, such as the Philippines and Malaysia, even though we do have a high score on the English Proficiency Index, it doesn't necessarily mean that all of us are good at speaking in English, because they only test a small population size. So we hope to integrate first on areas or in areas that already have English as a second language, such as the Philippines, Malaysia, Singapore, and then hopefully we can branch out from that. So yeah.
Yes.
Any more questions? Oh, okay.
I got one more. So for your content creation, because I noticed you guys have a lot of different games, a lot of different characters, a lot of different videos. Will you guys be doing this in-house? How do you plan to scale this? Are you going to keep it fresh, or is it just going to be the same throughout?
I guess for now, we could probably we could initially go for in-house, and then we could probably partner with certain institutions such as Scholastic or something, which already are good at giving stories. And then we can partner with other maybe freelance artists or something to increase the quality of our art. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. And I think and we believe in our solution because it's grounded in sound psychological theory. So it has all of the learning theories there. And apart from that, it also incorporates it addresses the root causes of why children have a difficult time learning English or other languages. It's because other approaches do not address the proximal causes of why people cannot develop their literacy, which is phonemic awareness and also oral reading fluency. Thank you.
Thank you, Team Read.io. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Okay, now we've heard from the first three teams. We'll now take a very short break for 5 minutes, and we'll gather back here in 5. They are very excited. Okay, see you back here in 5 minutes. please. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you had a good break. So now we'll finish off the presentations from the remaining teams. But actually, one thing I took note of the presentations, and I recalled back 2 years ago in my education, is back then all of us, at least the university kids, I don't know about them, but we were relying on this YouTube page called Khan Academy, and that was all I was relying on for my studies. And I think it's very nice that everyone is having such innovative ideas that leverages on technology to improve our education and help us ensure that education is a long-term thing. So now, without further ado, may I invite Team Edify, who will be presenting and addressing the challenge statement from NIE, on stage to present their ideas. Team Edify, please.
A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sean, and together with me, we have Joel and Zheng Hong, and we are Team Edify. The big question that we have today is how may we enhance the learner's experience in the virtual environment when adopting blended learning approaches. There are 3 E's that I'd like you to remember: engage, enable, and elevate, which Zheng Hong will elaborate on later. Edify is a one-stop learning management solution with video conferencing features equipped with intelligent tools to provide a tailored blended learning solution. So our mission here today is to align education objectives with students' interests, enhance lesson delivery, and also foster stronger student-teacher relationships in this new age of digital education. So my team and I did a SWOT analysis across the different countries in ASEAN, and we are heartened to see that there is strong government and corporate support in the region in providing learning devices to all students in the region. However, we do note that not all students have equal access to internet, and therefore it is important to provide offline education modules as well. And we are heartened to see there is strong interest for EdTech and the use of deep tech to enhance lesson delivery in the region. With that being said, we must go beyond implementing technology for its own sake and also introduce a one-stop solution that is easy to be implemented across the different countries. My team and I also did a landscape analysis on all the EdTech startups in the region, and we noticed there are several gaps in the ecosystem, highlighted in red on the left chart. On the right-hand side, we can see that we want to position Edify as a leader in supplementary learning and also a leader in being a technology provider by providing a one-stop blended learning solution. And now I'd like to pass over my time to Zheng Hong to bring you through the 3 E's of Edify.
Now, to tackle the aforementioned challenges, we have come up with a 3-pronged approach: enable self-directed, personalized learning, engage teachers and students using more seamless and interactive pedagogies, and elevate students' learning experience by monitoring their overall performance. Using this framework, we present to you Edify, a one-stop video conferencing and learning management system with the following 4 main features. Firstly, smart classroom management. We will incorporate computer vision into video conferencing to track students' behavior, notify teachers when the class attention drops, and prompts them to take necessary breaks. This reduces fatigue when they are staying in front of the screens for prolonged periods of time. Secondly, multi-screen interaction. We realize that current video conferencing are very one-dimensional and are restricted to just providing visual aids in lessons. So to increase student engagement, we would like to transform students' smartphones and tablets into interactive learning tools for more hands-on activities in class, such as virtual practicals or simulations. Thirdly, learn through play methodology. So by injecting gamification into our platform, we will reward students with points upon completion of certain milestones, such as homework, assessments, and supplementary courses. These rewards can be used to redeem cosmetic items for their virtual avatars and many other benefits as well. This helps to promote self-directed learning and a healthy competition among students. Last but not least, personalized learning analytics. We'll incorporate machine learning to recommend curated materials to students based on their interests and subjects enrolled. On top of that, we also have analytics dashboard to display the students' learning profiles, such as their academic progress, their in-class behavior, their strengths, their weaknesses. All of these are very critical information for teachers to provide support and guidance for their students. I'll now pass on the time to Joel to run you through our implementation phases.
Thanks, Zheng Hong. Now, looking at Edify as a whole, with our implementation of Edify, we are looking to leverage existing solutions rather than try and reinvent the wheel. We understand that the students across different ASEAN countries have different needs, and this is our roadmap. We are looking to develop our model by 2022 and start training and develop our model training and testing our model by 2023. Students across ASEAN regions have different needs, and we plan to tweak and cater it by 2025. With computer vision and interactive learning, we are trying to let the tech fade into the background and let discussion and thinking to the fore. We understand that it takes a collaborative effort between governments, educators, learners, and parents in order to create a comprehensive blended learning experience. With your help, we are trying to make Edify ASEAN's leading edtech solution, enable personalized learning, and elevate the learner's experience here in ASEAN region. Thank you, and we are open to questions now.
Thank you, Team Edify. Let's give them a round of applause for their presentation. We may now open the floor to the judges for questions.
So the market for this is existing kids who are in schools right now, or are you trying to reach those who are in remote areas and don't go to school right now?
Yep, so for our solution, we are trying to target students currently in primary school. So public schools can utilize our solution to conduct virtual learning at home. Say during the COVID-19 pandemic when students are unable to return back to home, so they can use Edify as a platform to conduct lessons at home. And if we look at ASEAN, not all students have access to internet or infrastructure or even the ability to go to school. And with strong corporate support, government support, providing learning devices to all of these students, we can introduce Edify into these learning devices and allow students to learn from the comfort of their own home.
So what happens when COVID is not a huge issue anymore?
Correct. So as part of our future plans, Edify can also be introduced to corporate lifelong learning goals. Companies may want to upskill their workers, and therefore Edify can also be equipped with higher level courses, for undergraduate students, even postgraduate students, for example. Thank you.
You talk about blended learning, and I hear it repeated a few times. Can you talk more about the role of educators and how educators can best support this tech?
Sure. So I think for us, when we entered university, right, we entered university during the pandemic, and most of our lessons were online. So typically, teachers would conduct lessons over Zoom, and as students, we wake up like 8 a.m. in the morning to attend class. You may not be the most attentive. So students, may sometimes turn off their cameras or don't pay attention to teachers, and it's also frustrating for the educators when they don't get to see the students' responses as they teach, as per in the classroom in real life. So with Edify computer vision, we get to track students' facial expression to see whether or not they're being attentive. And if students are not being attentive, teachers are notified. So they can take appropriate breaks or even adjust their lessons to make it more engaging for students.
Okay, so just to add on to his point, right? So apart from the computer vision, we also would like to leverage on our analytics platform. So we realize that more often than not, even in the physical, like when students and teachers go to school physically, that the teachers do not really meaningfully engage with students to understand like their backgrounds and their interests. So by allowing them to do these kind of supplementary courses and gamification, the analytics method actually track their behavior. So the teachers, when on their display, they're able to see these students' interests and weaknesses and everything. So it's as if that the teachers are constantly engaging with the students meaningfully through these analytics. So they know how to cater the different teaching methods to the individual students' needs and preferences.
My question is more around, I didn't see it on your roadmap, around ensuring there's inclusivity on the student side. So whether that's accessibility or really understanding, there are still students that, again, from a visually or hearing disability.
I think on the topic of disability, say for students with say ADHD, they may prefer something more hands-on approach of learning. So with our multi-screen interaction, this actually caters to students with that kind of needs. Say some students dyslexic, we can actually change the fonts on the software to cater to their visual needs and so on and so forth. Yeah. So what we're really trying to do is to make Edify as accessible as possible to students of all needs. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
In your presentation, you showed a comparison between some of the EdTech products. However, have you also studied the steps that each of these countries' governments have taken to improve education, especially given the learnings that have come from the pandemic?
Yeah, so we actually have conducted geographical analytics across several countries in ASEAN. So, for example, I'll be giving examples on Thailand, Philippines, and Malaysia. So, some specific problems, like in Thailand, despite like the government's push to have a very advanced infrastructure, there's still a very low digital literacy rate. So, Edify can come in by providing a seamless one-stop solution whereby the teachers and the students do not have to like keep using different applications and things like that. So, everything is all together integrated in one-stop platform, and this will reduce like their learning curve for the low digiteracy rate. In Malaysia, we realized that the market is actually very fragmented, where companies offer like limited breadth of services. So this is where Edify, the one-stop platform, can integrate everything together. And in Philippines, we realized that there's very high consumer propensity to spend on edutech products, especially in English courses if they value add to them. So this is where the online courses, the badges and certificates can come into play for cater to the demand in Philippines. So these are some of the specific problems in these countries where Edify can come and tap on the opportunities to solve. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dinana, for your question. Thank you, Team Edify. May we give them a round of applause for the presentation? Okay, so that was Team Edify representing Singapore. Now next we have Team The Capables representing Malaysia, who will be addressing the challenge statement from UPSI. May I invite Team The Capables, please?
What do these pictures mean to you? For me, it reminds me of my worried aunt whose child has been struggling with focusing in classes. And it's not just them. Lots of teachers are also struggling with keeping up with all the new educational technologies. But their problems have not gone unnoticed because the Asian education ministers have had an Asian summit to discuss all these key issues. And the key takeaway is to ensure that the shortcomings faced by the education sector during and after the pandemic doesn't happen again. From the summit, we concluded that the current solutions implemented are generic, ineffective, and does not consider all stakeholders. Now let me take you through EduRealm. So in EduRealm, the parents are able to check their child's analytics in one simple tab. The gamified students forum are able to keep the students more engaged, and the teachers are able to easily upskill themselves in the teacher's zone. Going through EduRealm. Now, let's say I'm a parent and I have 2 children. I can switch between my children's profile, and I can even choose my preferred language. Can also see the analytics of my students' performance here. And well, let's say I'm worried about how my child is performing in class. I can directly contact a teacher through the question box. This way, I can get a response without, and that's the notification the teacher will receive when the parent submits a question. If it's in let's say the teacher has some free time and they want to upskill themselves, they can do so with the resource roadmap in our teacher's zone. And when they complete, they can get a badge. Now, as for class analytics, the teachers are able to view the student engagement levels and their performance in the graph. And for the forum in EduRealm, the students and the teachers are both accessible to the forum. And like I said, the students can access this forum and they can view the questions that they've posted, which is answered by a teacher in this case. They can also view the digital textbooks. Yes, and they can choose the chapters and subtopics that they prefer to see right now.
Go to chapter 1 of physics.
You got it. Newton's second law can be expressed as...
And as seen just now, the blind mode has been equipped with text-to-speech and screen readers to cater to visually impaired students.
Education delayed is education denied, and that is why we decided to look into public and private educational sectors when launching our app. So, from the statements that Casey mentioned earlier, we will be looking into partnering with ASEAN educational ministers to provide digitalized education to public schools. Now, the question is, what about private schools, as they are not under the Ministry of Education and they will need help, right? So, for this purpose, we will be charging them 5 cents per day per user and also $18.35 per year. And for public schools, we will be partnering with the Ministry of Education under ASEAN to create customized plans that are priced based on your needs. From the chart that is shown here, the total addressable market for EdTech products is at 319 billion. And the maximum that EduRealm can get for, if let's say we target Indonesia, is 112 million. Now, the reason why we chose Indonesia as the ideal early location when going for the private educational sector is because currently EdTech platforms that are launched there is limited outreach and support. And the current EdTech market is concentrated in Jakarta, so leaving behind other regions in Indonesia. And internet penetration is over 74% in Indonesia, so there are opportunities for us to bring EduRealm to students there. In terms of launch, we will be working with schools to get them to integrate. Yep. So these are the user acquisitions we have, the partnerships. And yeah, in terms of scaling, we will be going to other ASEAN countries, other educational institutions. So competitive advantage, this is how we will, this is how we stand out, by being user-oriented, by being comprehensive, by having multi-language support, and providing upskilling opportunities for teachers. And we will need a seed funding of $250,000 US to be able to make EduRealm a reality, which will go into one-time payments, capital expenditures, operating expenditures, and a cash buffer of 6 months. We will be working together with the emeritus program provided by the EU government, because currently they're looking more into the higher education space. But we believe that it should start from the bottom, which is like primary and secondary schools. So we will be reaching out to emeritus for funding.
Thank you, Team Capables. Please wrap it up. Yeah.
So this is how we create impact by achieving 3 of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And yeah. Okay. So with that, the Capables would like to extend EduRealm to any students along with their teachers and parents in need. To reflect ASEAN's diversity and passion to transform education.
Thank you, Team The Capables. Judges, you may now ask your questions.
Hi guys, so great presentation. I'd just like to hear more about your competitor analysis, because ASEAN is a very large market, especially for EdTech solutions at the moment. So can you talk a bit more about, I know you mentioned your competitive advantage, but maybe go a bit more in depth about how you do better than the leading solutions right now?
So the question was in terms of the competitive analysis, right? So I think when we approach the market, it's actually the public and private sector. So for public, because we are working together with ASEAN educational ministers, it will be, the idea is to get it to all public schools in the ASEAN region. Now, then it comes to the private sector, right? So for private sector, since the idea is to go country by country, so we want to start with Indonesia first. And in Indonesia, we noticed that the current edtech platforms, so there's this slide. So for instance, so currently, let's say we're looking at Indonesia, right, and we want to do a market analysis in terms of the competitors that are there. So we noticed that even though there are a number of edtech platforms there, they actually overlooked the digital learning needs of the underprivileged, and they focus mostly on urban areas and also areas with mostly basically urban areas, and they actually overlooked rural areas, which is something that we would like to change when approaching these markets. So that is the kind of analysis when we do when we go country by country. Yep.
You mentioned about the Asian education ministers meet. What were the top three issues that they have listed, and which is there any collaborative effort to address those, and you are able to clearly mark your solution in context of those problems that they have identified?
So what we actually summarized from the ASEAN Summit, there were three key things that we took away from that, is that teachers lack upskilling platforms, and parents don't have time to actually monitor their children, and students don't feel engaged enough in their studies. So,
so my question was your solution. Let's take, for example, you mentioned about upskilling of teachers. Can you speak a little bit more about what is unique in the approach that you're taking to address that particular problem?
Because with our resource roadmap, we're actually partnering with Coursera and TechSoup in Indonesia to provide upskilling courses in a sustainable way to teachers and also keep them up to relevant information about their education, about their educational practices.
So, quick one. You started off your presentation by saying the problem you're trying to solve is the lack of engagement, students and teachers losing interest. And your solution is gamified, digitized online learning. Is that right? Did I understand that correctly?
So in terms of the gamification part, when we showed the student interface, there was actually, in terms of how we present interface with the badges system, we're actually encouraging students to interact with their peers online by engaging with the student forum. Now that is one aspect of gamification, and we actually want to recognize them for the contributions they make in their community. That is the gamification aspect of things. So now in terms of the digitized learning platform, it actually works in terms of the analytics that are provided. So because moving forward, post-COVID, we understand that if we were to focus solely on the digital learning aspect, we won't be able to remain sustainable in the long run. That is why we decided that certain features, let's say for students, the digital textbooks, it's able to be relevant post-COVID. And as for the teachers, teacher analytics, it's able to give them the proper data to be able to manage their educational processes. And for parents, they're able to, at one glance, look at like how is my child performing in classes and things like that. So that is the digital aspect of things. Yeah.
Thank you, Team The Capables. Let's give them a round of applause for their presentation. This one. Just give me a moment. Okay, so that was Team The Capables representing Malaysia. Now we move on to our final team, SchoolNext. So SchoolNext actually explained to me that the last three letters in their name, EX stands for experience and T stands for technology. So I look forward to their presentation about how they're going to increase the educational experience by leveraging on technology. And they will be addressing the challenge statement from Go Kong Wei Brothers Foundation. May I invite Team SchoolNext, please?
Hi, I'm Gwyneth, co-founder of CopyHand. We provide students their virtual learning sanctuary. We make them feel like they're out in a cafe, or kapihan in Filipino, drinking coffee or kopi, and they're out studying with their peers. Who here always wanted to have the ambience of a cafe while studying or working? It makes us feel motivated, right? So imagine your local cafe, but it has all the tools that you need for studying in one web app. That's CopyHand. But why? We have a friend named Alex, and we interviewed her, and she told us that two of the biggest struggles that she faced was isolation and the lack of communication between her peers and teachers. Multiple tabs, distractions, struggling to communicate with her group mates, overlooking some assignments. Wait, there was an assignment due today? As students, how does that make us feel? Depresso. And Alex is not the only one who has faced the same struggles. Alex is just one of the 1.37 billion students all across the globe that were forced to continue their education. And let's face it, this will not go away any sooner. Digital education is the future. In fact, the e-learning market size is expected to grow from 315 billion to 1 trillion by 2028, with a compound annual rate of 20%. And thus, we ask ourselves, how can we help students like Alex genuinely learn better? And our answer is CopyHand. But what is CopyHand? Loven?
So in CopyHand, we discover. With CopyHand's discovery page, learners can join cafe communities where their ideas, interests, and needs align, wherein we connect. Learners can join classrooms or create their own study rooms where they can have all the study tools they need in one place. Now, they can also customize it with whatever they want to. And then they also can share it among their peers. Now, in CopyHand, there is peer-to-peer learning, but there's also TutorBot, where learners can feed it with all the data and content they want to challenge themselves. In CopyHand, we don't just discover, connect, and learn, but also earn. Through the users earning stars and badges, they can redeem special featured reward, or they can sell their notes. CopyHand is made with the 5 peers of learning and Zimmerman's self-regulated learning 3-phase cyclic model in mind. But how do we do this, Abe?
Besides Alex, we want to extend this reach to millions of students across the globe. But the market size is so big, around 315 billion US dollars in cost. So we start small in the Philippines. We then extend this reach through social media advertising, search boost, partnership, and referral programs. All students get these features for free. However, they get even more features with the $10 monthly plan. But they get a 50% discount with the $5 quarterly plan and a 20% discount with the $8 annual plan. So what makes CopyHand different from our competitors? CopyHand is a social networking and blended learning hybrid platform. No need to launch multiple study apps. Every study tool is in one app. CopyHand helps students become self-regulated learners, which is crucial for effective peer-to-peer learning. But right now, we're in the development phase. To give this project a head start for 1 year, we need a total investment of around 300,000 US dollars. Now, Esma?
By the next year, we are hoping to expand our reach and influence with the help of our partnership program through affiliated links. Um, uh, with this partnership program, it will enable us to share and spread our copy hand. As a team, our goal is to connect all students across the globe and empower them to collaborate and share their knowledge. Okay, next. Although our team consists of different universities and of diverse backgrounds, we have the same passion. We also believe that with our created prototype, we are able to help a lot of students with this application. Thank you. And thank you. Let's go.
Thank you. Thank you, Team School Next. Now, judges, you may ask your questions.
Hi, can you hear me? Well done on that presentation. I just wanted to know, you mentioned that this is a one platform, and I think all the content is included in that platform. Can you tell me a little bit more about how would you get the content or develop the content?
Can you repeat the question?
So from what I saw in your demo, it seems like from a student perspective, this is a platform that also kind of captures the content that matters to them. So whether it's their, curriculum or what have you. And so how are you thinking about, I suppose, getting that content into that platform?
So we start with a partnership. We plan that if the application is developed, we can have the first test run in MSU IIT. MSU IIT already has the pitching office called IDEA. They've already vouched that we can run there. So when the application is developed, the students can upload their notes, and then they can also feed the tutor bot with the facts and every topic that they need so that they can study. They can so that the tutor bot can create quizzes that they need to study.
Besides that, for the recommendation, when setting an account, we will ask the user about their interests and the things that they would like to improve. So with that information from that, we will base that information to produce to recommend contents like cafes and communities that they're interested in. And furthermore, we will also recommend them events that will benefit them. So that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Perhaps any other judge has a question? Dinana for Karina.
Yeah, I have a question. Specifically, you mentioned about collaboration and partnerships with other players. Could be technologies which will enable you to reach out to a much larger cross-section of the society. So can you elaborate a little bit further on some of the partnerships that you have visualized?
This affiliation is for spreading our app with the help of content creators, especially influencers, for example, from YouTube. With them, one of the best ways to let them agree with us, we will give them basically affiliated unique links so that they will also benefit from sharing our application. So this is basically a three-way beneficial, a mutual beneficial thing for the company or for the application itself, for the students and also for the content creator.
So why not partner with Google? You listed Google as one of your competition and you compared it. And why not think of them as your partner?
Google has their Google Classroom platform. So we can also compare it to them because Google Classroom teachers can handle their classes in Google Classroom. So in our applications, teachers can also hold their classes in there. So as compared to Google Classroom, Students can immediately chat with their teacher. So although Google Classroom also has a chatting, the teacher can already have that one all-in-one platform where they can hold the classes, where they can submit the notes, they can submit the lecture, they can submit the projects and assignments that were given to the students.
Thank you. Any further questions from the judges? No? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Team School Next. Okay, now that is all for all 6 teams' presentations. I hope you guys enjoyed the presentations as much as I did. Think back in the days when I was in university, I think my last semester, we had this whole COVID situation happen and we didn't have platforms like this, and it's nice to see that we are trying to implement and bring sustainability to education. So now we'll go for a short break. We'll come gather here back around 4:15 p.m. There are refreshments at the back of the center. So please help yourselves. I'll see you back here soon. Thank you. Yeah.
I'm not able to hear you guys.
Okay, so Not what I needed right now. Hi, can I get everyone to settle down and take a seat first? Thank you. Our guest of honor will be arriving soon. Test, test. Yes. My test. everyone. Will you join me in welcoming our guest of honor, Mr. Edwin Tong, Minister for Culture, Community and Youth, and Second Minister for Law. Everyone, please take a seat, and we'll begin shortly. Hi, a very good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to TCS Sustainathon ASEAN Finale. I'm Amanda, I'm your host for today. And I hope everyone had a good break or good interaction earlier on. Now, may I welcome Mr. Girish Ramachandran, our President of TCS Asia Pacific, to give us a welcome address. Girish, please.
Good afternoon. Mr. Edwin Tong, Minister of Culture, Community and Youth, as well as Second Minister for Law. Friends, all our customers, everybody, thank you for, first of all, for coming over for the finals of Sustainathon ASEAN Finals. Okay. Let me just rewind and tell you a little bit about why we decided to conceptualize Sustainathon. Okay. So when we actually conceptualized this Sustainathon as an ideathon platform so that youth are able to take sustainability in their own hands and come up with solutions which are real, where they can address real-life problems on sustainability by themselves. Okay. This is a made in Singapore brand. We started off in 2020 in Singapore. And the first time when we did that, during COVID, we actually did it to look at combat food waste across in Singapore. Okay. And ever since then, we have, at that time we had Madam Halima Yaqub as a chief guest, the guest of honor at that time. And I did tell her that we will take Sustainathon global. And I want to tell you that we have managed to do that across. Sustainathon as a brand today runs right from the US to Europe to all across Asia Pacific, India, and right now launching in Australia as well. So it is pretty much a global brand that we have run from Singapore. Okay. When we did the first finals, one of the big problems that we envisaged that was there in our society is all about how do we combat food waste. And we had some wonderful solutions come up from students. And we picked those ideas, and actually we had, some of them were prototyped, and we were able to deliver it as a solution as well. Okay. And during the finals, or after the finals, we had one of our judges who decided to invite the finalist to her house for dinner. This was the Dutch ambassador to Singapore, and Margaret. And Margaret invited all of us. And then while we were going through it at her home, at that time, Minister, we had a 8% rule, so only 8 of us could be there. Okay. Yeah. So only 8 of us were there in her home. And then she asked me, Girish, have you looked at what is the second issue that we're looking at? Okay. So during the dinner conversation, we realized that it was COVID. And the biggest issue that we had during COVID was that 1.6 billion kids were out of school at the peak of COVID. Okay? And in ASEAN alone, we had 152 million kids out of school because of COVID. Okay? And even now, globally, we have 24 million kids who will never go to school because of lack of access to technology. So we thought it is good time to pick this as a problem statement and try to find out solutions for this. And that really ran what we call reimagining education, which is SDG number 4 of United Nations. Okay. So we picked SDG number 4, reimagining education. And today what you see is students coming in. They are all winners because they are actually our winners from Singapore, winners from Malaysia, and winners from Philippines. The winners and runner-up from each of these countries are coming here, and we decided to bring them all together for a finals of ASEAN. Okay, and that's why, Minister, they are here. And I want to thank them for their contributions. And I was there listening to them a little bit earlier. It'd be good to see how we are able to utilize the solutions that they got and try to see how we can work on it and build solutions along with them. Okay. So I want to thank all of you. It has been a real pleasure having all of you. I know it's not easy to come on a Saturday afternoon when all of you have other priorities. Really want to thank all of you. It means a lot to us that you are spending your Saturday afternoon with us. Thank you very much, and looking forward to the finals. Thank you.
Thank you, Girish. Now, may I invite Ms. Grace Carrison onto stage to represent the judges, to give us the judges' remarks for the presentations earlier. Ms. Grace, please.
Hi, everyone. It's great to see an ecosystem here this afternoon of businesses, government, and industry. This is really how we will move the needle when it comes to achieving our sustainability goals for, globally. Firstly, though, I'd like to congratulate TCS for rolling out TCS Sustainathon globally. This is probably one of the first that I've seen where it's not just an event, but it's actually putting in place some, actionable solutions that come from the young mind. The TCS Sustainathon is a platform developed for the youth to inspire and empower young minds to solve, sustainability challenge that we now face. And I think all of us can relate to why education needs to be reimagined. We all went through that, indirectly or directly, over the last 2.5 years. To the finalists that presented today, I just want to say congratulations to all of you. You've all represented your, Singapore, Malaysia, and the Philippines. I wish we had more than one winner, but we can't. And so we deliberated heavily on innovation and creativity, but just as important is the relevance and feasibility of it being implemented. And so with that, we did have a clear winner. But I just want to say that I just want to thank all of the finalists, and I would hope that what is going to be published on what you've created, you should be proud of it. What you've done, what you've presented matters, because moving forward, when we're trying to solve what we call ESG, it really is the S, it's the human capital, and it's about acquiring skills, gaining skills. That will really move and pivot, how we solve the climate change. And so with that, I just want to say thank you. We've got a clear winner. I think Minister Edwin Tong is aware of who that is, and I'd like to kind of call you up on stage to announce that.
Thank you, Ms. Grace. Now, we are honored to have with us today Mr. Edwin Tong, our Minister for Culture, Community and Youth, and our second Minister for Law here as our guest of honor today. Welcome, Minister, and thank you for being here. Now, may I invite the Minister on stage to give us his address.
Good afternoon, Mr. Girish Ramachandran, President of TCS Asia Pacific. First of all, let me add to the warm congratulations to TCS for launching this, not just as an event, but I think over time really as a movement to harness the energies of the young people, to give them some free space, and to take on board the ideas and give them a stake at the table, make them feel invested, not just for the here and now, but in the future. Good afternoon, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Very delighted to join you here today at this inaugural TCS Sustainathon ASEAN Challenge. Today's event, as I said, is very much about the youths in the region coming together, sharing ideas, bouncing ideas off one another, really coming together so that they become greater than the sum of their parts, using technology to solve real-world issues. The world we live in today has changed significantly, not only because of COVID, but I think because of movements around the world the past decade, decade and a half or so. We've seen significant seismic shifts in the global order over the last decade and a half. We've had to adjust and adapt to technological disruptions to almost every aspect of our lives. And in all of that, the pandemic overlaying on top of all of this is just made that acceleration really turbocharged. ASEAN as a region has not been spared by these shifts. But ASEAN remains in a good position, and I remain very confident of what we can do in ASEAN, and more importantly, together as a group of cohesive, united ASEAN nations. ASEAN is today one of the world's fastest growing economies. Before the pandemic, ASEAN was the 5th largest economy in the world, and even with the pandemic, is on track to become the 4th largest economy as a region by 2030. At the same time, ASEAN has more than 60% of its population under 35. 60% under 35. That's a staggering number because it immediately tells you the headroom that you have, or we have in ASEAN, and the ability to take on board and use the youths and tap into the energy to power our future. It is this young population that is also increasingly well educated. I was recently in Hanoi for the SEA Games, and I was chatting with athletes. Not only are they top-tier athletes, they're well-educated, speak well, have a very bright, clear eye on their ambition, on the future, and I think this all bodes well for ASEAN as a region. In Singapore, as in many other parts of the world, education is key to progress, and is also an important social leveler at the same time, ensuring that poverty gaps, inequality gaps get closed up, despite the fact that the country as a whole sees economic progress. It is no coincidence that ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education and promoting lifelong learning in particular is also one of the goals of the UN's SDG, Sustainable Development Goals. The pandemic has itself demonstrated there's much room for progress in this collective effort to achieve this goal. Girish spoke about it briefly, and I completely agree with him. More than 1 billion children and youths around the world have experienced disruptions in their education arising from school closures at the height of the pandemic. In many ways, we are fortunate because when we had the circuit breaker, we had lockdown in other countries, you stayed at home, you had a home, you had a place to study, you had internet connectivity, and you have the equipment with which to study, see your teachers online, do home-based learning. But more than 460 million of this 1 billion children around the world don't have that access to remote learning. Again, it's close to 50%. It's again a staggering number. And even in Singapore, one of the most highly connected places in the world, we still see, as we go around some of the rental blocks, the lower income precincts, we still see children hovering around the corridors because they can't get internet connectivity. Those who can in their homes, perhaps crowded out, they have no space at home to study, to do well. It's often something we take for granted. And I think it is, if not previously, certainly the pandemic has told us that these are stories that we can no longer ignore and we can no longer take for granted. Technology, well harnessed, in my view, can and will be a strong game changer in this regard. In our quest, all of our quest, to democratize education and enable the delivery of quality education to underprivileged communities around the world. We can use digital tools, which we sometimes and often take for granted, such as big data and AI, to make access to education a lot more inclusive. We can enhance and also curate learning experiences. Curate in the sense that you can look at it as not a one-size-fits-all. Different children from different communities with different backgrounds will need learning at different rates, at different speeds. At the same time, we're not starting from scratch. If anything, this pandemic has taught us, has equipped us with tools to deal with the pace of digital adoption. And building edtech capabilities from e-learning applications to language and conferencing tools, I think all of these has become par for the course. Top digital learning applications in Southeast Asia have seen more than a threefold increase in installations, from 6 million in 2019, just before the pandemic, to 20 million in 2020. And I think if you did a dipstick on 2021 and 2022, you probably find that the number has gone up even more. I therefore think we should build on this strong momentum to infiltrate, to spread, and to use educational technology to really level up for all the children around the world, and certainly in this region. It is therefore fitting that this year's TCS Sustainathon ASEAN Challenge is focused on the theme, Reimagining Education. Youths are the key drivers of change for a better future. I mean, they own the future. They are invested, and our own fortunes will depend on the young people of today. In my own interactions with Singaporean youths, I've always been impressed with the way in which they see the world differently, with a lot more passion, energy, dedication, and certainly when I compare myself to where I was when I was 15 or 16, I think it's very different. The issues they are seized with today, which they want to do, which they are involved in, I took for granted when I was at that age. All of that, I think, is energy that we must harness. The young people plunge themselves into societal and global issues that they care about. They are passionate about these questions. And they don't just look at education, social inequality, or environmental sustainability, mental well-being from a theoretical perspective. When they get involved, they get involved. They put themselves front and center of the problem, and they take action. A few weeks ago, I was in Siem Reap for the ASEAN Youth Dialogue, met a couple of my colleagues across the Southeast Asian nations, talked about development of young people, how COVID has perhaps stunted that development. But we also brought a team of bright young people together with us, all 10 countries. We put them in a room, they talked among themselves, they came up with astonishing ideas, with astounding passion. And I think this is the kind of ethos that we will need to take advantage of and drive. We often take for granted, but I think our young people can give us a lot of constructive ideas on how they can contribute to solutions related to the fourth industrial revolution. And I think this will be a game changer for the post-pandemic recovery. A critical point I stressed when I was in Cambodia, in Siem Reap, was for young people across ASEAN to travel, to do exchanges, to see the world from the perspective of the lens of someone else in a different society, in a different country. And I invited our colleagues from the ASEAN, 9 other ASEAN countries to restart the exchange programs that we used to have. Because if one thing that was a limiting factor is the inability to travel. You can do a lot by Zoom, you can do a lot with technology, but it's very difficult to build a long-lasting relationship and to understand and build interest in that human capital. So I encourage all of them to restart the programs, and for us in Singapore too, we will benefit from hosting young people from across ASEAN, and our youth will in turn also benefit from being hosted in other countries. We have initiatives such as Singapore ASEAN Youth Fund and the ASEAN Youth Fellowship, both of which were very popular pre-pandemic, designed to give a leg up to our young people to see ASEAN and experience ASEAN for themselves. Today, I'm heartened to see that TCS has provided an additional channel, besides what I've mentioned, for our young people to showcase their talents and promote the exchange of ideas at the first ASEAN edition of Sustainathon. I'd like to thank Girish, the team, Amanda, our MC, everyone at TCS, and all our partners here for setting up this platform, providing time and resources to support our young people in channeling their energy to developing solutions for a truly meaningful cause. As I close, let me just reiterate that it really takes a multi-stakeholder, multi-centric, multi-focused approach to deliver the equitable outcomes that we want to see. It's very often easy to see a problem from one perspective, but the solution has to be multi-centric. The more stakeholders from different diverse range of different backgrounds across the spectrum are willing to come together, work together, be on board, work towards these shared outcomes, the greater our chances of success will be. On this basis, let me just finally end by giving a shout out to our young people. I know from Grace there can only be one winner, but in many ways, everyone is a winner for even being here on this platform, prepared to contribute, prepared to put a stake in the future and make a difference. And I think we have a lot to be optimistic for if that is the attitude of our young people of tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister. Oh, sorry, Minister. Sorry. May I invite you to stay on stage? May I also invite Mr. Girish to come up on stage as we will be presenting the token of appreciations to the judges, our partners, as well as the awards to the winning teams. Yeah. So may I first invite Ms. Grace Carrison, our APAC Head of Sales Solutions at LinkedIn, to receive her token of appreciation. Thank you, Ms. Grace. May I? Oh, okay. Thank you, Ms. Grace, for being our judge here today. Next, we have Mr. Rajiv Peshwaria, CEO of Stewardship Asia Center. Thank you, Mr. Rajiv. Next, we have Ms. Karina Chan, Director at Temasek Trust. Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Oja Sharma, co-founder and CEO of Floramis, and our previous champion for our inaugural Sustainathon. Lastly, for our virtual judge, Dinanav Koka, Senior Vice President, Global Head of Partner Ecosystems and Alliances here at TCS, can I invite Abhinav on behalf of Dinanav to collect the award? May I invite the judges onto the stage again to take a quick photo together? Next, we'll present the token of appreciation to Mr. John Carlo, Secretariat of Association of Southeast Asia Teachers Network, ASTONS. Thank you for being our partner. Now, the moment we've been waiting for, we are going to be presenting the awards to the various teams and then our champions subsequently. So in 6th place, we have Team Edify, who's placed 6th in the whole TCS Sustainathon ASEAN finale. Congratulations, Team Edify. They have won 2nd place in the TCS Sustainathon Singapore finals earlier this year. Thank you, Team Edify. Now in 5th place, may I invite Team Radio Works from Philippines to come on stage to receive their prize. Thank you. Now we have a tie for our 3rd place. So for these 2 teams, you may come up to collect your award in sequence, but you're both tied. So may I first invite the Capables on stage. The Capables represent Malaysia. Thank you, Team The Capables. Now, tied in 3rd place, may I invite Team The Circus up on stage to collect their prize. Thank you, Team The Circus. Now we'll announce the champions first before I announce the 2nd place. So can we get a slight drum roll, please, for the champions for TCS Sustainathon ASEAN Finale. And the champions are Team The Cuties. May I invite Team The Cuties up on stage to collect their award. Congratulations, Team the Cuties. Now that leaves us with second place. Now in second place, we have the team representing Philippines, School Next. May I invite School Next up on stage? Congratulations. Oh, yeah, sure. Good job. Thank you. Yeah. Now, can I invite Girish to present our token of appreciation for our minister? Thank you, Minister. You may take a seat. Now, are we all happy with the results? Yes? Okay, so now we're gonna have the champions present their whole presentation to all of you once again. I hope they're stable. They seem very happy but anxious right now. But may I invite Team the Cuties, our champions for TCS Sustainathon ASEAN Finale, to present their presentation and ideas once again. Yeah, click there.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Cute Debbie, the project manager of the Cuties. Now, what do you think is going on in this picture? So this is Sam. He's a year 3 student, and it's pretty obvious that he's struggling and frustrated with online learning, being very frustrated and also dozing off during class. And I believe all of us can relate to Sam in one way or another. Am I right? But in reality, not just Sam. UNESCO reported in 2021 that 140 million students' education in Southeast Asia were disrupted due to lockdown. How then can we use digital technologies to increase the quality of online learning and facilitate communications among parents, teachers, and students like Sam? Well, Sam mentioned that the lack of a centralized platform has confused him in understanding his homework requirements and that his busy parents can't guide him in his online learning. Moreover, the lack of a peer-to-peer communications among teachers has made online teaching way much more difficult than before. However, we, the Cuties, are here to present to you Cutie, a newly interactive and attractive platform powered by artificial intelligence with its cute virtual assistant QC, as we aim to achieve C, which is support Sam on behalf of his parents with our QC parent, enhance Sam's teacher's online teaching with our QC teacher, and excite Sam's online learning with our QC student. So let's take a look at how C can be achieved with Qiao Fang.
Now, QC will act as a study buddy to accompany Sam in his study time and online lessons. With our emotion detection technology, QC can detect whenever Sam starts yawning and losing interest in class. Once it detects so, QC will immediately pop up a conversation with Sam to get his attention. On top of that, if Sam starts to doze off, QC will pop up again, giving a little boost of happy hormones to help Sam stay awake. Secondly, for Sam's academic management, with our machine learning algorithm, QC will distribute their study materials according to his subjects for easy access. There will also be a wide variety of games generated by QC according to his interests. For Sam to play these games, he will have to play a battle for more points, as known as droplets, by completing his work submission and attending online classes to acquire more playtime. With that, Sam will feel motivated when learning to gain more droplets. Thirdly, with our QC's virtual assistant, Sam's parents can easily track and also monitor Sam's learning progress. Specifically, with just a voice command, QC will display Sam's attendance and also the psychological report.
Show me my child's attendance. Opening attendance, sir.
I believe this feature will reduce the time spent by parents navigating through this app, as parents are less tech-savvy.
Show me my child's psychological report.
Okay.
Report, sir.
There it is, the SAM psychological report, which is generated by QC through data analytics, helping parents to better understand their child. So finally go to the QC's teachers. QC will utilize the cloud technology for all teachers to communicate with each other and sharing their teaching material centrally to create the peer-to-peer support they need. With this, Sam's teacher will have more time to prepare their lessons as their daily administrative works. For example, the records of student attendance can be done by QC, and the teacher will only need to verify it.
We believe QT stands out with it being the most beneficial and user-friendly learning platform as we promote gamified and holistic learning and is personalized and student-centric. For now, elementary school students in Singapore, Malaysia, and Philippines are our target audience. There will be a freemium plan with limited features and a premium plan with a 1-month free trial and an annual subscription of $9.99. With EdTech being widely introduced to ASEAN, we believe QT has the potential to generate $755 million for its total available market and $1.13 million for its serviceable obtainable market. Our goals remain aligned with UNESCO's Sustainable Development Goals, as in making education accessible to all genders and reducing inequalities between the urbans and the rurals. So what's next? We hope to come up with our own NFT collection to generate revenue and maybe even venture into the metaverse to make future education tangible and borderless, and an offline QC embedded chip that can be installed in the cheapest mobile tab. All in all, QT and QC is brought to you by a group of first-year University Malaya students who empathizes and relates with Sam's struggle. That is all from us, the QTs. Thank you.
Can return that to the lady. Thank you, team the cuties. This way. I hope everyone enjoyed that presentation. My second time watching it, but well, I still enjoyed it. Next, can I invite our Mr. Muhammad Ishad, our Head of Corporate Affairs for ASEAN, to give us a vote of thanks.
Thank you, everyone. I know Minister is, it's beyond 5:15, but thanks for staying for just a short while. I wasn't going to say or speak today's program, but I just wanted to highlight one incident that happened about just last week. There was a unfortunate car accident in Phuket, and we had a group of Singaporeans who were in a car, and one of them, 3 of them passed away on the spot. They collided with a mini bus, and one of them, unfortunately, was part of one of the team that presented today. Yeah, so he was in a state of coma. He just regained conscious. He's from Team 85 Mausin. So I just wanted to share with everyone here so that we keep him in his prayers. He's still in Phuket, but I hope that, with his gaining of, responsiveness, he'll recover and he'll be able to join us in future, okay? And Team Circus, one of the other Singapore teams, one of them came down with COVID, but despite these 2 setbacks, I think the team put up a really good show here today. So let's give them a round of applause, please. Yeah? The Malaysian teams, they braved a 2-hour immigration jam at Singapore Changi Airport yesterday. So thank you for persevering that. I didn't believe it, but when they actually said and corroborated across all 10 of them, so I think I had to believe it, right? Philippines team for the resilience in making a very long trip because they're not from Manila. There's another team that came much more remote places. So they almost took an entire day yesterday to travel here. They came and reached here last night, and then tomorrow morning, early morning, they're going to set off back to Philippines. So thank you for both the Philippines team. Let's give them a round of applause. Yeah? Sustainathon would not have been possible without our challenge partners over the years. We've got PA, PAYM, Hockey, Pearly here, and Ken Chua as well. And we also have SG Enable, Ron Low Assistant CE, Dr. Shanti from NIE, Anthony from NTUC Learning Hub. And we also have Grace Carrison and Grace Xiao, both from LinkedIn, who have joined recently as a strategic partner. And John Carlo. John Carlo is actually from a secretariat of the Association of Southeast Asian Teachers Network. And he came all the way from Philippines just so that he can join today's finals. So thank you, John, for joining us. Yeah. It's hard coming up with a challenge statement, but it's harder to be the judge. So again, Grace, Rajiv, Corina, Dina and Ojus, Dina is joining us virtually online from Pune in India. And really like to thank them because without hesitation, they agreed to be a judge. So, and also on very short notice. So thank you so much. Yeah. To our amazing TCSs, this would not have been possible without the brainchild of Girish. So Girish, thank you for initiating Sustainathon, that too in the height of pandemic when we thought that, how are we going to do this, right? So Girish, thank you. The 3 country heads, Amit, since 2020, has been a very strong supporter. Jeevan from Malaysia, our country head from Malaysia, and Shiju, who's our country head for Philippines, not able to join us here today. Thank you to all of them because they have put in considerable time, resource, and effort into this entire Sustainathon. Yeah. My partners in crime, Shweta and Dwen. So say hi. Yep, Shweta and Dwen, they've been with thick and thin through Sustainathon from the onset. Our comms and marketing colleagues from Singapore, Wen Shen, Amanda, our MC, as well as our Malaysian colleagues, Alfred, Theodora, and our Philippines colleague, Michelle. And overseeing all of them is Manish, our head of marketing for APAC and communication. And overseeing him is, is Abhinav. Abhinav has flown in from Brussels just for Sustainathon finals, ASEAN finals here today. Thank you, Abhinav. And thanks for the entire team for your support. Yeah? My HR colleagues, Ching Chia, as well as Grace. And today's event would not have been possible without the administrative team of this office that you're here today. Kausar, Christabel, Christina, Rukia, as well as Safiza. Thank you all for your sleepless nights and your hard work. Right? Last but not least, the amazing customers, the partners that we have here, the supporters and the cheerleaders of Sustainathon. Thank you. And very important last person, Minister Edwin Tong. His schedule was packed today. So that I know because his special assistant, Kai Bin, shared with me, it's impossible to find a slot. But Minister said to find some time. So thank you, Min, for making time for us and taking time for the youth of Singapore and ASEAN. So let's give him a round of applause as we welcome him. Okay. So thank you, one and all. And, we wish you a pleasant Saturday evening. And thank you, Minister. We will have you, join us in future. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister Edwin Tong, for being here today. Thank you, everyone. Everyone, would you please take a seat? I think they need to sit and you close everything. Okay. Hi, everyone. Can I get everyone to get back on to settle down first? Yeah. No, just to close off. Just to close off. Just to close off. The event team is asking to close off for the live. Huh? What? Oh, okay. Okay, everyone, we have come to the end of our TCS Sustainathon ASEAN finale. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you again soon.